Hello and welcome into week 5 of the Kohort Late Model Stock Tour here at Thompson International Speedway. As mentioned, this is week 5 of the season. I'm Kurt Henney, joined in the booth with Rick Main. Rick, good to have you.
Happy to be here, Kurt. I look forward to this one.
Yes, sir. I know we're a little sad throughout the Cohort Late Model Stock Tour to not have you dual hatting as a driver broadcaster. Um, what motivated that decision, Rick?
Yeah, just got a lot going on the dirt side. I'm starting to get a little better in the 360s and the 410 sprint cars, so just want to focus on that. Plus, I had an absolute blast doing the broadcast the other night, so I figured I can still have the best of both worlds. I can race with those guys, come back with you guys, put on a good broadcast, hopefully, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, well, we definitely appreciate you coming back on the booth, coming back in the booth, really joining us, really elevating these broadcasts for the drivers, our sponsors, and anybody else out there on YouTube watching these races. I think having you and I battling back and forth throughout it really makes these videos a lot more entertaining. So here we are, Thompson International Speedway. We have an 80-lap race. Similar to last week, Rick, we have one set of tires on the car. There's no sets in the pits. Last week was the first week we did it. We only had 2 cautions last week. A lot of good racing. What do you think of this week here at Thompson?
Well, I think you're going to figure out that some of those guys, myself included, did not know how to save tires. So I think you're going to see some guys, hopefully, that worked on that over the week, get a little better at that, and have a little more stronger racing at the end. Since we had kind of a 2-car breakaway there towards the end of that race.
Yeah, so tire saving will be key. I know at this track, in my opinion, it's a little more difficult to pass since that mid line here is the stronger line, so you're not going to be able to take that bottom line and really just drive past people that you typically see in late model racing. So maybe diving underneath somebody really isn't the advantage. Maybe it's going to be battling for that outside on corner exit to really get that midline entry going into the next turn. I think that's
Are
where the
you
advantage
talking
is going to
slide
be.
jobs?
Maybe like the slide jobs could happen.
Slide
Slide,
jobs?
yeah. So going into your dirt, go ahead and explain a slide job, Rick. Go ahead.
Well, that's for us dirt guys. You get a good run out of quarter exit. You suck up on their bottom. You run her in deeper than you normally would on a corner entry, and you slide up right in front of that other guy. Hopefully, he gets on the binders a little bit, turns back under, and that's a crossover. But
Well,
a lot
Rick,
of the times, they don't know what the break is.
yeah, and I tell you what, as I mentioned, that bottom line's probably going to be open throughout this race. It's not the fastest line, so it'll definitely open up opportunities for those guys to dive it in there. And as you mentioned, hopefully they can take that momentum and clear that guy on the outside. We'll see. I'm excited about this race, Rick.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully, a couple of those other guys get up in there. I mean, speaking of the 2-car battle last week, I know, from the Inferno Motorsports camp, DeRocha actually said he's going to step away from doing the asphalt stuff and going towards some of the dirt stuff as well. So we're going to need somebody to fill his shoes and get up there and battle Kyle St. Jean, who's, he's starting to squeak away with this championship.
Yeah, Kyle St. Jean won the last 2. So this would be a three-peat if he's able to pull it off here. As you mentioned, Jesse DeRocha is opted to head the dirt path, similar to yourself. Respect the move. We appreciate Jesse's time here in the league. Hopefully he finds, weeks that he can come back, join us, maybe tracks that he finds a little more entertaining. But let's go ahead and get this starting lineup started.
Let's do it.
All right, and now it's time for your cohort starting lineup. In true cohort fashion, we're going to start from the weekly Sacco Award. It's a weird one this week in that we have Nicholas Giampa starting from the pits after an upheld protest last week. It's his second week in a row with an incident, so he will start from the pits as his penalty. Nonetheless, he will bring home the cohort Sacco Award, racing out of Massachusetts, driving the Wayland Manufactured in America Chevrolet number 26, Nicholas Sacco Giampa. On his outside, starting on row 9, Bob Evertson. Inside row 9, we have Ty Schoening. Outside of row 8, we have Lincoln Bond. On the inside, we have AJ Flo Zapata. Outside of row 7, we have Anthony Callahan. And on his inside, we have EJ Luna. Outside of row 6, we have Nicholas Walthorn. And on his inside, we have Zach Cooper. Outside row 5, we have Gary Sack. Inside row 5, Christopher Fleming. Outside row 4, Ryan Hufford. And inside row 4, we have Ryan Cavey. Outside line of row 3 is Anthony Monroe, last week's pole sitter. And the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time! Your top 5 is brought to you by the Kohort Motor Club, the official motor club for the Kohort iRacing leagues. It's more than a hobby, it's community. Start on the inside of row 3, racing out of Columbus, Ohio, Mr. I like my toes in the water and ass in the sand himself, driving the Mellow SRX Chevrolet, Justin Mellow Raymond. Starting on the outside of row 2, racing out of Carolina, driving the Global Sim Racing Channel Ford, Zachary Wilt. Starting on the inside of row 2, racing out of Mount Vernon, Virginia, driving the ever-patriotic Team Red, White, and Blue Yingling Toyota Camry for Kohort Motor Club, Kermit El Presidente Henne. Starting on the outside of the first row for the second week in a row, your points leader, driving out of Massachusetts, driving the Bobby McCarty RNS race car, Solid Rock Carriers Ford Mustang for CMC Motorsports, Kyle Push to Talk St. Jean. And bringing home the Kohort Motor Club Pole Award, racing out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, driving the Mountain Dew Throwback Chevrolet, hoping to bring home the checker just as Landon Huffman did last night. Your pole sitter, Dakota Malore. All right, Rick, that's your starting lineup. Let's get this race going. It's going to be a good one. 80 laps. Only set of tires we have are the set on the car. Tire conservation is going to be key. We might see some sliders. We might see some door-to-door action. I don't know, Rick. I'm excited.
Yeah, I see a different face on the front row there. I mean, are we gonna have a new winner here? Are we gonna have a three-peat? Is El Presidente gonna be the first two-peat? I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I will remind you, Rick. Last week, Kyle St. Jean also started on the outside. Anthony Monroe was our pole sitter last week.
Who's your pick here? You think we're gonna have a new winner? Or you think we're gonna have a three-peat? What's the guess?
I tell you what, I think we're gonna go. I'm gonna go someone new. I've raced with Mello a lot. I'm looking at his driver profile here, Justin Raymond. He's aggressive. I think you're gonna have to be aggressive here at this track.
He looks aggressive there.
So I think this is really going to be one of those races where being a little more aggressive than the others is going to be to your advantage.
Yeah, he takes up on the steering wheel serious.
Yeah, that's Justin Mello Raymond for you. So here we are, Rick. I think pace car's going in here. Pace car's in. They're going through 3, exiting out of 4, heading to the 5-6 graphics restart zone. Green flag's in the air, and here we go, Rick. Race is underway.
Kyle St. Jean got a great start on the outside. He's able to clear the leader into 1.
Oh, looks like in the wall. Kermit in the wall outside. I don't know.
Not sure. Oh, we got wrecking. Big wreck down the backstretch.
Early caution, yellow flag. Oh,
car
man,
almost
Rick.
Upside down. Who was that?
All right, let's go back and take a look. We have a lot of chaos. Let's start back with we saw Kermit in the wall early. Let's go see. We're going to rewind. And
That caution came faster than your taxes.
Yeah. I tell you what, Rick, we talked about how difficult these tracks are going to be, single lane racing. So it looks like it's unrelated We'll check and see what happened to Kermit here, but it seems like the incident in the back wasn't related to this incident, but we'll give it a look.
Seaflow corner entry?
So here we got Kermit running third. We have Mello and Zach battling side by side back here for fourth. Let's play. So it looks as if Zach just dives it in. Maybe Kermit comes up, but that's unrelated to the incident. Let's go back further and see what happened back here. Because Chaos, Rick, I don't even know where to go with this. Let's see. So those two are on the wall. That could have caused some checkups. Oh! It was. Kermit came out of turn 2, and looks like he got into the back of the black and yellow car up there, Rick.
Maybe take us back to 1 and let us just ride clear through here with, on Kermit's onboard.
All right, let's go. Let's rewind and let's see what Kermit was doing here. All right.
He was all out of sorts here on the first lap.
So we're here on the restart. Let's hop in the cockpit view of. Let's ride along with Kermit. All right, and here we are. We're in the cockpit of Kermit. As you see, he's riding in third, right behind Dakota here. It said that outside contact brought him in the wall. He has high momentum. Ooh. Rick, I think he had the momentum off the corner he wasn't expecting. I think that was perhaps Nicholas? No. Anthony Monroe, our last week's pole sitter. I think he came up in front of Kermit. Kermit wasn't expecting it and drove straight through that man.
He doesn't look like he got the worst of it, though. Somebody was almost upside down, I think, behind him.
Yeah, let's take a higher view and let's see what's going on with this, Rick. Let's see. So you can see the contact there between Kermit and Anthony.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the 099 just drives completely under the 15 of Chris Fleming. So Zach Cooper decided not to hit the brakes, drive straight under Chris Fleming. And let's see what happens after there. I think that was the big contact between Zach Cooper and Chris Fleming. But it all started with Kermit getting into the back of Anthony Monroe. Rick, I tell you what, that start was chaos. Yeah, there was a lot of moving pieces, people battling for the same position. There was contact going all over the place, Rick.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It looked like they were trying to make a baby late model down the backstretch, but I'll tell you what, it seems to be causing the issue here. It looks like the bumpers don't line up perfectly. It looks like it's really easy. I mean, I think that's even what started the wreck there with Kermit, is he got up under the bumper and it just turned old boy. And as you can see, the 99 car, nowhere to go, just was able to run right up underneath the guy in front of him there.
No, I think you nailed it, Rick. With the bumpers, the noses of these cars are at such an angle compared to the rear bumper being elevated from the ground. You don't have that rear spoiler that you see in the NASCAR Cup cars, for example. So there's a lot of space underneath that rear bumper. That nose fits right under there. So bump drafting, any type of bumping, those rear tires are going to come off the ground. The cars are going to go around, Rick.
Yeah, Kurt, are we hiding the tower from the fans?
I'll tell you what, Rick, good call. We got our tower up. There's our live timing and scoring. As you can see, Kyle St. Jean was able to take the lead from that starting on the outside. We talked about the outside line was probably going to prevail here. I'll remind everybody that the leader does have a choice, high or low line, in this series. It's the only row where the drivers can decide high or low. Everything else, they just follow the iRacing instructions. But the leader, sometimes, Rick, it's not an advantage to be on the inside row, as we saw there.
Yeah, I mean, Gene got a picture-perfect start there. A lot of drive on the top side, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, I guess we'll see if a bunch of the leaders opt for that outside option then.
Yeah, if they were paying any attention, they have some crew chiefs down in the pit lane there. I think they should be calling out to their driver to take that outside lane, because that mid line, that mid to high, is preferred line. We'll take a look and see how low some of the drivers get once we go green here. And honestly, Rick, even during caution, no one's going down to the apron.
Yeah, talk restarts to me here, Kurt. In this series, after a caution where you don't get a consecutive lap in, are we going single file or all restarts double?
Yeah, so if the consecutive cautions, we'll bring it to single file. But we like side-to-side racing. We don't want to blind them single file prematurely. So here, it looks like Race Control has opted to do a double file restart. But yeah, Rick, if it gets out of hand, a couple quick cautions. The aggressiveness is too high. Race Control will make that decision to go single file. Once it gets settled in, we'll go back double. But yeah, that's something that Race Control keep an eye on.
Something to keep an eye on is Gene went to the bottom there on the restart after that great start on the outside row.
Yeah, it's a strange move. Let's see. The subsequent restarts are on the leader, so there we are through 3 and 4, heading to the 5-6 graphics restart zone. And Kyle St. Jean looks like he has a great start on the inside, clears the outside row by a car length, heading into turn 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Meller just wasn't up there ready to go. He was about half a car length back before Gene fired there, but we got a battle shaping up here for the runner-up position.
Yep, side by side for P2. Looks like Dakota slides a little bit, gives Mello inside line. But again, contact where Mello's trying to clear. Justin Raymond, Mello trying to clear. Makes light contact. Contact's enough to get that position away. P2 for Justin Raymond.
Yeah, KV's thinking about making a move. We got one way on the inside. Got one diving in there, I think, for 5th. That looks like Huffer.
Oh, it looks like we're slowing. Looks like another caution on the track here, Rick. Let's I missed it. Let's go see what happened here. We have Gary Sack in the pits. So he wasn't involved in the first incident. So let's rewind here. I think he towed to the pits. Yep. Definitely. Ooh. Oh. Definitely some contact back here.
These boys are kissing. They're trying to make little baby late models. What's going on here?
Yeah, we have multiple pregnancies going on here in the Thompson Motor Speedway. So let's ride along from the blimp. Okay, so we have the 89. Looks like he checked up very hard to stay out of the back of the 48, Rick.
Yeah, it looked like an accordion effect. I mean, I think that came from who's there in front. That looks like Huffer checked up, the 48 checked up, 89 checked up. Eventually, somebody doesn't check up, right?
Yeah.
Then the rest of the field just plows in there.
I think that's exactly what it was. 89 checked up, and the 54 behind him didn't know, that wasn't expecting checking up, especially at that part in the corner. So then the 54, who's running the 54 today? We have Wawthorne. Yep. So Wawthorne not expecting the checkup that late into the braking zone. Gets into the back of Gary, sends him up. And then we have Anthony Callahan in the 13, who gets hit by the 19. Oh my. A lot of damaged race cars there, Rick, for our second caution within the first 10 laps.
Yeah, save your change. It looks like a pinball machine out there.
Yeah, we knew that the racing was going to be a little tighter at this track. So, going back to the one tire thing, Rick, so you only have the tires that's on the car. So if you have a huge slide early in this race from contact, get into the back of somebody, maybe try to dive bomb somebody and get loose, those are the only tires you got. So part of me is a little shocked by the amount of the early cautions and the aggressive driving and the spinning that we're seeing, because these drivers are going to have to reuse those tires for the other 70 laps, Rick.
And may benefit some of those guys who maybe aren't as good at taking care of their tires on track. All these pace laps they're running, that lets them save a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're saving, you kind of like the cautions early in the race, because you're comfortable where you are. You know that you're going to move forward later in the race. So let the cautions come out. That's fine. But you know what they don't want to see, Rick? They don't want to see those late cautions. Because the late cautions at race pace, they have fresher tires. They have fresher tires, so they're able to make faster lap times. They don't want to see those cautions later in the race. But early in the race, they know those aggressive drivers are going to be more aggressive on the restart. They can save even more during these restarts. So yeah, absolutely. People that have that tire conservation mode turned on early in the race definitely like these early cautions. All right, so we got Kyle St. Jean still leading. We have, it seems to be a lapped car riding in front of Kyle St. Jean, just an iRacing ism as far as where the caution falls, where the drivers were at the time because of the spin sitting on the track. So once we get one to green here, they'll give T-Show the wave around. He'll be clear of the leaders so we can have the leaders have a clear restart here, Rick.
Yeah, three-peat looking strong so far for Gene. You know, got Raymond running
Can I
second
get
there, Miller in third,
wave around or an
KV
EOL
in
here?
fourth, and Henny's running out your top five there. See who can
It's gonna
you
send
know,
you
maybe make a
after,
move here on
close
this
to one
restart
still.
for Gene.
Yeah, I think, Rick, did we cover who your pick was for this race?
No, but I'm glad we waited 10 laps because about 5 guys aren't left. So, I think KV ran pretty strong in that first race, didn't he? On the short track.
All right,
This
so
might cater more to his style.
yeah, Ryan Cavey currently running fourth. My guy, Justin Raymond, Mello himself, P2. I said that aggressive driving's really going to be beneficial here.
I mean,
It's
it's hard
looking-
not to.
I think we have a single file restart. They're not doubling up here, Rick. I think race control determined, 2 quick cautions within the first 10 laps. We have a long race here. So, yeah, definitely going single file for this restart, Rick.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of single files, but when you're tearing up half the field, you almost have to.
Through 3 and 4, heading to the 5-6 graphics restart zone. Kyle St. Jean leading the field, green flag, 13 laps in. Let's see how the single file restart develops into some effective racing here.
Well, you're not going to have to worry about any slide jobs here early, so that's one thing they got going for them. You can maybe sort out here, get into a rhythm, try to churn some laps, just settle in.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you have these guys that were saving tires. They don't have to worry about battling side by side with somebody while trying to save. Because all too often, that guy that's trying to save tires will maybe give up one position. But here in these late model races, Rick, the splits between the drivers are so small. So you lift for one driver, chances are someone else is going to freight train you.
Yeah, and as we say something about saving Raymond here, he's in the old Pink Panther, really starting to put the pressure on G.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if we can have a first time racing with the Kohort late model stock tour. First time here. Mello actually, he brought a few people into this race. Oh, very close to making contact with Kyle St. Jean. He is definitely pushing the limits here early in this run, trying to get by Kyle St. Jean, try to get that track position.
Well, it's not always about passing them or even giving them a bumper or something like that, right? If you can get up on that bumper, maybe force them into a mistake, then you can just drive right on around and you don't even have to make a pass.
Yeah, you get that guy looking, here it is, looking on the inside. He dives it down. Oh, not quite there. He's holding strong. Yeah, and Kyle St. Jean's going to gap him here on the on corner exit. So here they come out of turn 2. Still, Kyle St. Jean leading Justin Raymond.
Yeah, Meller in third, fourth Brian Cavey, and fifth El Presidente.
Yeah, still single file through the field, Rick. So the single file racing, now we got some green flag laps going. This is where the tires are going to come and go, and we're going to see those movers here later in the race if this race stays green.
Yeah, top 4 here, almost nose to tail, car length back to fifth, Mr. Henny there, car length back from there, and then the field kind of sorts out. So, I mean, you can pretty much throw a blanket over the top 4, they're nose to tail here.
Seems like we got side battle back for 11th, 12th between the 19 Lincoln Chithole Bond and the 08 Bob Evertson on the outside. Do they go 3 wide?
Oh,
Oh, the 04 thinks better of it. Zachary Wilt slides back in line. Bob Everton, oh, contact. Oh, there it is. Oh, man, we saw it here live. Contact between Lincoln Bond, Bob Everton, running side by side. Rick, I was just about to say how impressed I am that they were able to keep this racing side by side. as we see Lincoln Bond coming on the radio. We'll pick up what he says after we go back and look at this replay, Rick. I think it was a matter of running out of space. So let's get behind. Let's go far chase, riding with Lincoln Bond here, and see what happened between him and Bob Evertson. Yeah, so corner exit. You know, Rick, when you're dealing with any oval racing, you really want to use the whole width of the track. I know we talked about that in previous weeks. So if you're going to enter low, ideally to run the fastest line, you're going to take that exit all the way to the outside wall. And, well, Rick, you can't do that when there's a car on your outside.
No, you sure can't. You generally pancake him, throw yourself in the wall, and if there's cars behind you, you see what happens.
And I think that's exactly what happened. So, you know, Lincoln Bond taking that momentum all the way to the wall. Unfortunately, Bob was there. Let's see what Lincoln has to say.
You think we're racing for first place, dude? Holy crap.
Hey, I lagged out of nowhere. What do you want me to do?
So we have Huffer talking about administrative stuff, but Lincoln Bond, it would seem he's sorry for making a pass. It seems that he believed that Bob Everson was the aggressor in that moment, but looking at the replay, Rick, I think that he was the car on the inside, thinking that he had more space on corner exit.
Yeah, I mean, when you're that outside car, of course you try to pinch down a little bit, but it looked like Mr. Everson there was just holding his line to me. And I think
once wave rounds, get caught up on the lead lap, he got disconnected.
Bond gets out of his car, watches the replay later tonight at his trailer there. He's going to figure out that he's not looking at that the right way.
Yeah, and maybe he was thinking, you know, if you think about the outside line as we hear some admin stuff going on in the background.
Thank you.
So for those watching as we're talking over it, we had an individual that was disconnected. It's a pilot season, so the points, they didn't matter until our great sponsor 5.6 Graphics offered to provide a paint for the pilot season. So now the championship winner will receive a paint thanks to 5.6 Graphics. But driver was disconnected, so, you know, we're all here trying to have fun, so we gave him all of his laps back. So that was the discussion that was being had in the background there. But yeah, so on the outside, maybe...
Kyle St. Jean is Kermit up in the booth. You got me?
We got an interview, live interview.
Yeah, I'm right here. What's up?
Kyle, you won the last 2 weeks. This could be a three-peat. How you feeling up there?
I'm feeling pretty good as long as everybody is saving as much as I am.
Yeah, as I mentioned last week, I think there's a correlation between laps left and patience left, so we'll see as these laps start to wind away how the aggressiveness picks up. So good luck to you.
Well, up here at the front, it's felt pretty good. I mean, nobody's pushing real hard, so.
10-4, good luck.
Well, Rick, looking at that in-car camera, it's certainly dark out on that track, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely not daylight. Is there lights around here?
Well, maybe not in that corner, because I'll tell you what, we couldn't see Kyle St. Jean's face when he was talking to us. But, yeah, as I was saying, maybe Lincoln Bond was thinking that car on the outside should have given him that position since he had it on the inside. But as we mentioned in pre-race, Rick, that inside line is not the preferred line here at Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 25 laps in, right? You're a little over a quarter of the way in. Maybe you give that position up if the guy's making that big of a push for it, right? But, you know, that's racing. There's give, there's take, and then there's take, and there's take, right?
Yeah, we had a decent green flag run there. You know, it was a single file restart. Allowed some drivers to get spread out. About I don't know, Rick, 18 lap run we had there. So it looks like we're going to be doubled up here. We'll look and see.
I like the way you jiggle.
All right, another caution lap. So I'll take this opportunity, Rick, to give another shout out. I know we just mentioned them, but 5.6 Graphics, you know, really appreciate their support for the Kohort series here, offering to provide a paint for the pilot season champion And they also committed to Green
Yeah,
Flag
no
Racing.
pace car block.
It's another single file restart.
Kind of black car.
It seems like we went single file just because it did produce some decent racing there. So we'll see what happens this time around, Rick.
Yeah, Gene off to another great start. We'll see if you know, Raymond's able to reel him back in. He was putting a little pressure on him there at the tail end of that green flag run.
Yeah, Raymond's all over him again, as we see here. Definitely the closest battle on the track. The closest and the most important. Tell you what, let's ride on the nose of Raymond and see what it looks like.
Tell you what it looks like. Front of a race car.
It does indeed look like a hood. Looks like we have a couple hood pins there. And we look at his sponsor there, Mello SRX. So for those of you that don't know, Mello will put up hosted races throughout the week, especially Friday, Saturday nights. So Friday, Saturday night, Eastern, if you find yourself...
Dives it in.
Let's see. Can he hold it? Oh, he's able to keep this Kyle St. Jean, clear him on the straight. He clears him. Friday, Saturday nights, if you find yourself bored, check the hosted, search Mello. Chances are Mello will have a hosted session up. Tracks and cars vary. So give that a search. Great guy, really appreciate it. He dives it in again, Rick.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting a little better drive out of 4. Gene's able to widen it back out down the backstretch, but Mello's able to stay there. Does he dive it in here?
Oh, he's a little deeper there. Is he able to stay side by side on corner exit? Looks like Kyle St. Jean gets a little loose, allows Raymond to keep his position. He's going to have the inside, hidden in the turn 1. Does Kyle St. Jean clear him on exits? Raymond staying low. I think Kyle St. Jean has him cleared, gives him plenty of space. I tell you what, now... Oh, contact. Oh, that was close, Rick.
Really bad.
Yeah, Mello, your pole sitter, is finding some speed here at the mid part of this race. It looks like he has the better speed actually out of the top 3. Loses a little bit of track position there, getting into Raymond. I'm not sure. It looks like he might have bent something. He's up the track, starting to drop wholesale positions.
Yeah, down side by side, P5 with Kermit El Presidente. Kermit dives down low, trying to make that track as short as possible, and is able to clear him for P4. EJ Luna slides back into P6. And does Raymond get back side by side for the lead? No, single file through the field, Rick.
Yeah, Raymond's keeping him honest. He's putting it up beside him every time he can to let him know, hey, I'm here. You know, you're not squirting away. I'm not here for a 3P, right?
Yeah, he's definitely diving it in there, turn after turn. You know, corner entry. Oh, light contact there. You know, diving it in corner entry like that, it has to be chewing up that right front on the Raymond machine.
Yeah, I don't think he's worried about that right now. He wants to go out and set the pace here.
No, and that's absolutely right. So, you know, if you get that lead, then you control the pace, and then you're going to have to cause Kyle, you know, in that P2, an unfamiliar position for him. Whether or not he's going to be able to hit his marks when there's a car in front of him. Is he going to end up burning his tires? Still, you know, it looks like every lap, Mello's diving low, getting to about like the, you know, the rear tire. But then corner exit, we see Kyle St. Jean. Oh, just as I'm saying that, still side by side into turn 1.
Yeah, these boys are Goodyear to Goodyear. We got a good race here going, Kurt. Coming out of 2, they're still wheel to wheel. This might be his best chance he's had yet to run it in deep.
Rick, is this where we see one of your sliders coming up? Does he just dive it in and come up and clear him here?
I'll tell you what, I'd try it, but I don't know anything about driving asphalt.
Contact. Big door-to-door contact there. Oh, is that crossover?
Love it.
Ooh, we got a good one here. Does he dive it back in? They finally swap positions, so now we got Raymond on the outside. We got Gene on the inside. Raymond finally gets that drive that Gene's been getting off the corner exit of 4.
Man, Rick, I tell you what. So, you know, we had Raymond just diving it in. We told you at the pre-race that there would have to be contact on that inside line to really make something work. And as we say that, Kyle St. Jean goes back inside Mello. Contact again.
Sorry.
And Kyle St. Jean is able to clear Mello again with a little bit of contact that causes Mello to fall back, the Raymond machine back P3.
Yeah, I don't think Gene liked the way Raymond got around him there. He was pretty aggressive. He wanted to get back out front. Cost Raymond 2 positions there. We'll see if KV can go up here, get on Gene's bumper, and see if he has the pace to get up here and lead this thing.
Yeah, we saw Mello battle St. Jean for a few laps. You know, he was diving in on entry, just didn't have enough to clear him. That lasted 1 lap with Kyle St. Jean in that second position before Kyle redeemed himself, took that lead, and now we have Kyle St. Jean leading the field, familiar position, Ryan KV P2, Justin Raymond P3, Kermit El Presidente Henne in 4 with Dakota, your pole sitter, riding P5.
Yeah, we got a nice little 5-car breakaway here. Toss a blanket over them. They're not going anywhere. Then we got maybe it's a little action back there for 6th on back.
You know,
I saw 1 fan out there.
We'll go through the field here. So we're in 6th right now. Just as I say that, we have EJ Luna diving on the inside of Zach Cooper. Does he clear him? Corner exits still side by side. That outside line is going to prevail. So behind him we have EJ Luna that's still battling on the inside, similar that we just saw our leaders battle back and forth with. Behind EJ Luna we have Nicholas Walthorn in the 54 Monster Machine. Trying to wait and see. Send it.
EJ Luna looked very sophisticated in that picture, Kurt.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's go back and give more respect to EJ Luna's photo. Moment of silence. A round of applause for EJ Luna's profile picture. He's not dead, I promise. All right, Nicholas Walthorn, 54 Monster Machine, still waiting to figure out what Panic and Zach Cooper want to decide on who wants to gain that position. Anthony Callahan back here drinking the Busch Light.
That's on your time.
And looks like we have another caution. Lincoln Bond came on the radio. Let's see.
I feel bad for that. I just bumped him. He wrecked early. I don't know.
All right. Looks like we
very
had
slow turquoise machine.
another Lincoln Bond incident. Let's see what happened here. All right, so we have Lincoln Bond. Let's go on his nose. I feel like we're going to see a rear bumper on this nose. Rick, this is actually a good angle. We talked about this earlier. So you see how high that rear bumper goes up? You know, you can see the fuel tank there with the cage around it. You know, that rear bumper is so high in that the nose just goes right underneath this rear bumper, which I believe, Rick, we're about to see.
Yeah, Kurt, you matter. We'll see how much he matters in turn 1.
Yeah, well, Hidden Valley Ranch Dressing was hiding inside of Ty Shoeing's gas tank. And that's going to bring out, I believe, our 3rd caution of the race, Rick.
I'll take it. I feel bad for that. I just
that
bumped
sounds
him.
right
He
to
wrecked
me.
early. I don't know.
Hey, Justin, my bad. Didn't mean to run you so tight on exit there.
We have some chatter on the radio.
Racing, buddy. I liked it. I love it. I want some more of it.
So we have Raymond giving some Tim McGraw lyrics here in radio chat, talking back and forth to Kyle St. Jean. As some mutual respect on the racetrack, Rick. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, hey, we're out here hard racing. It's short track racing. There's going to be a door. There's going to be a bumper. You know, it's going to happen.
So once again, you see the 83 machine, Ryan Hufford getting some laps back from that disconnect. This is a thing we're doing for the pilot season. Rick, once the season starts here, we follow the official iRacing season. So we have 2 more weeks left in this pilot season. We'll take a week off. And then the official season 1 will kick off right with the iRacing official season. So next week we head to Hickory for a 115 lap. I'll call it an endurance race. It's our longest race of the season, Rick. Followed with our championship race at 5 Flags Speedway.
Kermit, can I get one more waiver on?
Yeah, you said Hickory's what, 125 laps? Still no tires?
Yeah, so Hickory, I think we're going to do 115, Rick, as far as laps, based off fuel, just to get the, the incident we had back in week 4 of some drivers running out of fuel at the end of the race. So I think we're going to go 115 to prevent a fuel stop, and we're going to have one set of tires in the pits, Rick.
So in this series, is it week by week on
Not
tires,
gonna lie, when
or are
you
we
go
still,
by that,
since
is
we're
a
in the
serious
pilot,
flyby from the
deciding
field.
whether we want to do one set of tires each week or no set of tires?
I think it'll be the reason Hickory we have a set of tires in the pits is just because it's a longer race. You know, typically Hickory, based off the track length, would be 90 laps. We're adding 25 laps to it just to make it more of an endurance race. And with it's a rough track, Rick. I don't know if you had an opportunity to go out there and race down in North
Hey,
Carolina.
Ryan, Kermit up in the booth. You got me?
But we have a in-chat interview going on, so let's hear what the booth has to say.
Which Ryan?
Well, we got Ryan Hufford with us. So, Ryan, Kermit up in the booth, running back there. How's it feel out there?
Well, you know, I lagged out earlier, so I wasn't able to get some laps in, but now I'm finally back on the lead lap. I'm just going to dig in and see what happens, make the best out of it.
Yeah, I saw some fortuitous wave arounds you got there back on the lead lap. So we're coming down. We only have, 35 laps left in the race. Good luck.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, you just heard the interview between Kermit and Ryan Hufford talking about all the wave rounds he was getting from that early disconnect. Again, that's a pilot season thing. We don't look to do that during the actual season. But we're all doubled up here, Rick. Looks like we're coming out of 3 and 4 into the 5-6 graphics restart zone. Kyle St. Jean once again leading the field to green. Good restart. Looks like he's going to clear Ryan Cavey on the outside. Gets the preferred line going into turn 1. Clears him out of 2. Oh! Contact. We have another incident. Oh, big contact. Heavy contact. Oh, heavy contact back there, Rick. Man, I hope everybody's all right. All right, let's go see what happened back here in the field, shall we? So it looked like it all started maybe with Ryan Cavey. We were just talking about Ryan Cavey, how he was battling Kyle St. Jean.
Yeah,
and then,
I thought Cavey was going to sneak out of that.
And then chaos. Whoa, barrel rolls going on. All right, let's see. All right, so here we are, Rick. We have Kyle St. Jean all by himself up front. Raymond, Cavey side by side, P2. Kermit riding P4 with Dakota, our pole sitter, in 5th. So, as we move forward here, Ryan Cavey gets some momentum. Oh, so it looks like Ryan Cavey might have had to lift just slightest for Kyle St. Jean. You know, he had that momentum on the outside going there. Kyle St. Jean came up. So maybe he lifted, and that's what caused the contact. But we have the Raymond, the purple and pink machine, Mellow SRX machine, gets in the back of Ryan Cavey. And then after that, looks like Kermit doesn't back out. Mellow comes back up across Kermit's nose. So that incident, and then I think from there, madness.
Yeah, just an absolute domino effect. Cavey couldn't hang on to it once he got loose. Nowhere to go. I mean, it's a blockade, right? Got guys trying to get on the brakes, guys not knowing they need to be on the brakes. We're making baby late models again.
A lot of baby making in this screen grab here. So we got the 82 of Anthony Monroe, just absolutely giving it to Nicholas Walthorn. Then right below them, we have Anthony Callahan just sending it balls deep into Zach Cooper. Let's play, because I think there's more drama that unfolds here. Oh, there we go. We have yet more baby making. So now we have the 47 of T-Show, seeing what Chris Fleming's made of. And then the 04 of Zachary Witt decides to give Callahan some treatment of his own. And then I do believe we're about to see the 82 black and yellow machine right center of your screen, Anthony Monroe. See what it feels like to do some barrel rolls. So let's get on him and let's watch him.
I'll tell you what, Kurt. I think I need a whiskey and a smoke after watching an orgy.
Well, that was definitely race orgy, and we're going rolling. There it is. There's your smoke you were looking for.
Yeah, Monroe definitely got the worst of that one.
Rolled that one up.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Well, he's going to have to tow to the pits. We do have one fast repair in the series. Unsure if he's already used it. in this race. But absolute, you nailed it, domino effect. Contact running for P2,
You can give that one to me.
P3. Gets in the back of them, and chaos ensues. So we have a lot of our front runners damaged now. So Ryan Cavey, Kermit Henney, and Raymond, who are all running in the top 5 for the majority of this race, now find themselves back mirrored in traffic. It's going to be interesting to see if they can battle back. Go ahead, Rick.
Well, you see why Gene there, he fights so hard to stay out front. When you're the guy out front setting the pace, a lot less chance. I mean, you just saw that was your second and third place car racing hard there.
Absolutely. You know, a lot less dangerous when there's no cars in front of you. You don't have to worry about checking up, and you don't have to worry about any other drivers. You know, whenever you have a car right in front of you,
I think Kermit also deserves one.
especially in the when you get in the cockpit. You know, next time we go green, we'll hop in the cockpit view. It takes some time to get used to like knowing, having the appropriate perception of like where your car is in relation to the other car. And we talked endlessly about this rear bumper, or the lack thereof. You know, it seems like you're clear, then the next thing you know it, your bumper's underneath their car and their rear tires are off the ground. They're spinning around, Rick.
I'll be honest, Kurt, I didn't hear a single thing you said. I'm worried to death about Monroe. I mean, he has more rolls there than I
Ryan,
saw
did
at Planet
you get
Fitness
loose
the
up
other
there,
night.
or did I cut you
I mean,
off?
I'm scared for the guy's life.
Yeah, well,
Nah, that
let's
had nothing to do with
let's
you,
go
Kyle.
check and see if we can see what's going
That
on
was me on exit.
inside the Monroe. Let's see if he's still in the machine.
Can I get a black clear?
No, Rick, it looks like he's good. He's in the car. He's still buckled in. His eyes are
I figured I'd
open.
get
You know,
that,
it looks like they're
'cause
putting some
I
fresh
kinda
tires.
figured
Looks
pretty
like,
close there.
yeah, he's coming back out, Rick.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. I'm interested to see if he's able to drive back up through the field here. I feel for my pick, KV. I think he had possibly the car to beat there.
I'll tell you what, that looks like a brand new machine. Thank goodness for fast repairs.
Hey Ryan, just a heads up. You
Wouldn't even known he
blinked
just
in
did
and
5
out,
barrel
and
rolls down the
all over
backstretch.
All right, so 22 laps to go. We've had a handful of cautions, some close racing. I think everybody knows how difficult it is to pass. So these restarts, you know, the aggressiveness on these restarts is at its peak, Rick. 'Cause that's really where you got to take advantage, especially if you're on the high line, knowing that you have the preferred line. We're doubled up. Looks like we're going to come back to racing with 20 laps to go. All right, going through 3-4, heading into the 5-6 graphics restart zone. Kyle St. Jean, green flags in the air, clears the high line with ease. Car length lead going into turn 1.
Yeah, we got Meller running second, your pole sitter. Looks like Luna and Wilt going door to door down there for your third and final podium spot.
Yeah, it looks like single file 1 through 3 side by side for P4 with Luna and Callahan. Callahan on the outside. We've seen all race that the outside line typically prevails unless that inside car makes some contact. And Luna wisely dives high to protect that high line from the 83 machine of Ryan Hufford.
Yeah, not every day you see somebody dive high, right?
Yeah, that was an interesting block. See, I think we all know that that mid to high line is really the preferred line, and he was afraid to get freight trained by Callahan and Hufford, so opt to get up there and move forward. So it looks like we have Kermit riding on the inside now, trying to gain those positions back. Looks like he's cleared Zach Cooper. Zach Cooper may have damage. Looks like he's sparking back there, Rick.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Hufford here. He has got a good looking race car.
Yeah, Hufford,
I like that.
we talked about him earlier. He was the one that had the disconnect, had to come back from 5 laps down. Now he finds himself running P6.
Well, what a gift. What a gift. And then, you know, glad that he came out for the season. I mean, he just has a good-looking race car. Went around El Presidente like he's not even on the track, you know?
Single file 1 through 5. Yeah, it looks like conveyor bed out there, Rick, right now. So we're going to see 15 to go. At this point, this is what we talked about in pre-race, right? The tires. So all these cars have the same set of tires that they started with. So I think we're going to see some people gain some positions late in this race that maybe saved a little bit. Maybe Kyle St. Jean gaps the field because he's saved tires better than everybody else. So as I'm saying that, he has the 3/10 lead over P2 of Miller. Battle in the back. Let's go see. Is that Nicholas Walthorn on the inside of the 82 of Anthony Monroe, who's a lap down. As I say that, he gets into the wall. That battle is decided. Looks like maybe heating up. Yeah, I was just about to say, heating up for the lead. All right, Dakota, our pole sitter, is right back with Kyle St. Jean with 12 to go.
Yeah, he might
Can
be
he
the
get
only
there?
other guy out there with a brand new looking race car, you know, able to stay out of all that contact.
So it looks like Kermit's in the back, diving below the nice looking 83 machine of Ryan Hufford, but we're going to stay here with the lead as they battle side by side. Looks like it's gapping a little bit.
Yeah, coming to 10 to go here in your Kohort late model series.
10 to go, Rick. We have a 2-car breakaway between Kyle St. Jean and Dakota Milor here.
Yeah, it looks like a mirror of what we saw last week. We'll see if Meller is able to do what Jesse couldn't and close this thing out.
Yeah, and you know, I wonder if some drivers don't like seeing repeat winners, and maybe it adds a level of aggressiveness just to prevent that guy from getting another win, Rick. Do you think we see some contact?
Yeah, man, nobody likes seeing the same guy win all the time. You take the guy out there, let him win every week, and he starts getting boozed the next week, right? So, yeah, I think he's going to run this thing as hard as he can and go for a win.
Yeah, well, Dakota's definitely keeping pace with him. Seems like the only car on tracks that's able to keep pace with him at this point. I just don't know, Rick, if he's going to have enough. 8 to go, 7 to go at the line to get there. I think it's going to take one of those moves we talked about in pre-race, but I think he needs to be a little bit closer, right?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are on a double date to the Applebee's. They're about to sit down and have an appetizer. They got miles away from the other part of the field.
Well, with any luck, it's all you can eat riblets because those are the only thing of value at Applebee's. So 6 to go, top 2. Oh, does Kyle St. Jean get loose there? Is he going to give Miller a run on the outside?
Closes the door.
Down to a 10th. I'll tell you what, Rick, Miller's running a higher line, which is giving him the momentum off the turn. So Kyle St. Jean running the lower line. You're going to see the momentum of Dakota on the outside here. And then I think what's happening, let's see if we can ride on the nose of Dakota and get a better look at this. So hopefully it happens again. It's like the commentator's curse. Whenever you talk about something, it doesn't happen anymore. So maybe Kyle St. Jean heard us talking about how low he was running compared to Dakota and opted to maybe drive in the mirror a little bit and prevent that from happening. We'll see if we see it here. So we see Kyle St. Jean lower, but we heard Dakota. He had to, oh, and he's in the wall. That's going to hurt him. 3 to go. Hard to get momentum when you're hitting the outside wall, Rick.
Yeah, I mean, he's pushing, right? You're coming to 3 to go, you have to. And if you got to give him a little bit of a bumper to get him just a little loose, I mean, you're going for a win here.
Yep, and I think that's that right front. You know, if his right front had a little more grip in it, he'd be able to stay in that throttle. Crank that steering wheel a little bit more, and that right front's going to stick. But, you know, 78 laps into this 80-lap race, that right front's just not as friendly as it was at the beginning. So you can't, he's probably going to have to lift again here, wait on the throttle. Yeah, waiting on the throttle. 1 to go, Rick. 1 to go. Kyle St. Jean leads the field.
Yeah, Miller going to drive it in deep. You have to here. You get no saving tires now. Coming down the backstretch, he gaps him back out to about 3/10.
And looks like Kyle St. Jean is going to be your winner. 3 weeks in a row. Dakota Milor, Anthony Callahan, Zach Witt, and Kermit Henney drives back to P5. And that's going to do it for this race, Rick. I tell you what, that was an exciting race.
Top
Yeah, there
three,
was
stand
some
by for the
good
driver
door-to-door
interviews.
action there.
No podium photo, just
Um,
leader, burn it down. Top three for the driver
Kyle
interviews,
St. Jean,
please.
P1. Dakota Malore, P2. Anthony Callahan, your third place finisher this week. Let's watch Kyle burn it down.
Hell yeah, baby. Burn them bitches off. You just won 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, and he's definitely our points leader. One thing we didn't look at, Rick, prior to this race was the point standings coming in, but we can take a quick look now. Now that the race is over, unofficial standings, we can see Kyle St. Jean leading by almost 50 points, over 50 points, 52 points. Ryan Cavey and Rick, you're still holding on to P3 in the point standing.
I wouldn't expect anything less, Kurt. Every time I wake up, I piss excellence.
So excellent that you decided not to race anymore after finishing last, Rick. You know, some people can't save right fronts as well as others in asphalt.
That's why I'll stick to dirt.
I think your future is in dirt. You know, you're a hell of a dirt car driver. And I'll remind everybody, 7 p.m. on Sunday, we do also run the dirt sprint car 360 series, open series. Rick is the admin for that league, so if you're interested in dirt, 7 p.m. on Sundays. Kohort also has a 360
Anthony
sprint
Callahan,
series.
Kermit, up in the booth.
Time
You
for
got
driver
me, man.
interviews. Let's listen in.
Yes, I do.
As we hear Kyle burn it down in the background, you had a couple weeks off. You come back, finish P3. How'd it feel out there?
Well, I was in 2 wrecks, almost flipped over, staring at the ground, and somehow this thing didn't die, and just got lucky that I was able to keep it on the outside and pass a couple people who put up really good fights, and everyone was clean. It was fun.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. That outside line, you know, it seems like the midline was really the prevailing line. So you had to get on the outside of somebody on the straight to really get them through the turn. Great run. You have any sponsors, friends, family you want to shout out to?
D's nuts.
Well, D's Nuts really helped you propel to a podium finish. Good to have you back. Hope to see you next week. Good finish, buddy.
Well, thank you.
Dakota finishing P2. Kermit up in the booth. You got me?
Got you loud and clear.
All right, Dakota. You showed speed in practice. You're able to bring it home P2. How'd it feel out there?
Well, after avoiding the major pileup on the backstretch, it felt like a win. Second place feels like a win so early into the season. Kyle had a great car, had a few chances to get after him. He's points racing. I'm not quite up there. So, yeah, it felt good. Felt really good tonight.
You know, showing respect in the late model series is always a challenging thing to do. It's hard to make passes. Sometimes you got to be a little more aggressive to really make something happen. So all the respect to you for clean driving. Any sponsors, teams you want to give a shout out to?
First off, thanks to all y'all for putting on this league. It's a lot of fun. Definitely encourage everybody to come out here and get involved. It's a good time. No sponsors, if anybody's out there listening. Yeah, that's it. Thank y'all for everything, and can't wait for next weekend.
All right, Dakota, we appreciate you. Hope to see you next week.
Appreciate it.
Kyle St. Jean, this is a familiar interview. Once again, bringing home the checkered flag. How'd it feel?
Yeah, it felt pretty good, to be honest with you. I have no clue how I won this race. Dakota was the fastest car all day. I just seemed to have more tires left.
Yeah, it's a matter of perhaps pushing at the right time, getting that track position, and having enough speed to maintain that track position. I think you nailed it. Dakota definitely had some pace, but you were able to prevail. About the tires, what were you doing that maybe you were able to save tires better than the rest of the field?
Well, to be honest with you, I was kind of letting off really early, just rolling around the top. There was no point in racing for the first 70 laps.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kyle, that strategy really worked out for you. Any sponsorship teams you want to give a shout out to?
None, but if anybody's listening, I would love to put a couple of sponsors on this car.
I'll tell you what, 3 wins in a row here in the Kohort Late Model Stock Series Tour. Kyle can definitely whip these late models around these tracks. So great win, Kyle. Hope to see you next week at Hickory.
Yeah, that's a shame. I will not be at Hickory next week. I planned on trying to win 3 races in a row here to win the championship. So we'll be back at wherever else is the last race.
Yes, sir. So we have Hickory, and then we have one more for the championship. So we hope to see you in that last race. Hopefully these 3 wins will prevail you to that the championship and get that 5.6 graphics paint. Great run tonight.
Thank you. Well, if we're finished here, I'm going to go do some burnouts.
Send it, buddy. Good win.
All right, Rick. So here we are. Here's the championship standings. We just heard Kyle St. Jean say he's not going to be at Hickory next week. Who do you think has enough to knock off Kyle St. Jean of this championship, knowing he's not going to be at the race next week?
Well, I'll tell you what, these boys are probably sighing with relief hearing that first and foremost after 3 straight wins, right? But I mean, it has to be Ryan Cavey. He's the only one in the same zip code, I think, as Kyle St. Jean. And I mean, you gotta paint on the line from 5.6 graphics. I don't know anybody who doesn't want a nice paint scheme.
Yeah, they do some great work. 5.6 Graphics does, and I think you're right. You know, I'm looking at the standings here. Rick Main and Jesse, they've both stepped away from the late model series, which leaves really only Ryan Cavey as the
Good race, man.
guy that could really compete for the championship. So we'll see next week. Hickory 115 lap race. Kyle St. Jean, our points leader, will not be there. So we'll see if Ryan Cavey shows up, can capitalize on that advantage, gain some points, and then it looks like we're going to have a close one between Ryan Cavey and Kyle St. Jean for the championship at Five Flags. That's going to do it for the Kohort Late Model Stock Tour. Thank you all for watching. If you're interested in joining Kermit _418 on Discord, hope to see you here, Hickory, next week.